The Age of Reason, also known as the Enlightenment Period. What brought about the era known as the Enlightenment Period? The time period of the 1600s to the late 1700s is often referred to as the Age of Reason or the Enlightenment Period. In the 1640s, Galileo used math to dissect the nature of the universe. He discovered the fact that the Earth revolved around the Sun, not a geocentric universe. This important discovery launched a time period where science became paramount. People began to believe in nature's laws and thought that math and science could lead to greater rational understanding. In America, after the Salem witch trials, the influence of Puritanism declined in New England and was rivaled and eventually superseded by the Age of Enlightenment thinkers such as Ben Franklin, Thomas Paine, Thomas Jefferson, and the other founding fathers of the nation. During the 1700s, a number of thinkers, and much of the European and American populace, began to turn away from the religious-based thinking of the Puritans and other groups towards a more rational, less faith-based view of the world and of life. This did not mean that they totally rejected religion, but rather that they generally did not assume that religion, or things like the Bible, were the only trustworthy source of truth. Instead, truth could be found through rational thought and logical investigation. Here are some of the general beliefs of the Enlightenment era thinkers. First, they believed that nature needed to be understood so that it could be harnessed and used. Many turned away from traditional religious beliefs to views that are classified as deism. This is the belief of God as something of a clockmaker, a being who set the world in motion and then stood back. This viewed God as distant and religion as not nearly as important. God did not seek to be worshipped. God doesn't have an ego in this view. Simply God is creator, often referred to as the first cause. This view sought to strip away much of the division that was created by religions, and instead focus on the basics of God as creator. In this view, God wanted men to lead virtuous lives, and there is some reward and punishment for behavior, often through the idea of an afterlife. But prayer was seen as generally irrelevant because God did not intervene in the overall machinery of the world once he set it in motion. He is also not an ego-driven being that seeks to be worshipped. These thinkers, generally deists, saw human beings as inherently good. They also believed that human beings determined their own destiny, that there was no predestination, and that each human being was responsible for controlling themselves, that they were not controlled by God or the devil or some other force. The Enlightenment era thinkers also had a great belief in progress. There was much optimism that this movement of mankind was towards the better. Science would lead the way. In addition, they were pragmatic about power and saw the struggle for power as a crucial force in how the world worked. Understanding the worldview developed in this time period is crucial because this covers the time period when the United States was born as a nation. The thinkers we'll be discussing in this unit, Thomas Jefferson, Ben Franklin, Thomas Paine, and others, were all Age of Reason thinkers who were shaped by the attitudes of this time. In many ways, their views were shaped as a direct reaction against the thinking of the mainstream Puritans of the 1600s and early 1700s.